What's up, bikers? This is your program for the 6th of October, and we're gonna be starting a bit of a strength phase. So it's important now that if you have tested recently, you refer to those tests. Even though we're gonna be working to a heavy for the day, we will be using some of those percentages in the future during this cycle. So we're gonna start with back squats on day one. But before we do that, it's important that we get really warm because we are going to be going heavy. And you might not have gone this heavy for a while, so it's important that you re-establish good positions, good hip mobility, thoracic spine. So we'll walk through a little warm-up so that you're nicely prepared. So generally, what we say is that you do 2 to 5 minutes of steady state cardio to get your heart rate up, and that way then you can start flowing a little bit and start focusing on the target areas that we need to get mobile to get into good positions for the squats. So Pat's going to demo on the box here, just like you're lunging onto a box and then pushing that knee quite far forwards. So what we're trying to do with this position is replicate an extreme bottom position of the squat, but just with one leg, so you can focus a lot of weight into the hip and open out that hip capsule. So pushing the knee forwards, because these squats are going to be very determined by ankle mobility, you can use this as a hip and ankle opener by pushing the knee forwards and out as far as you can. Now Pat can lean further forwards and put his armpit onto his thigh and apply more pressure downwards onto this, and this will help more with ankle. Or he can put both elbows inside of his knee, push that knee out to the side, drop further, and that'll put more emphasis on the hip. And then once you've done that for about 2 minutes that side, swap sides. So that'll be the same, similar on the other side. So that's 4 minutes total. Then you're going to go back to the first side and you're going to get a little bit more dynamic on it. So you're going to push that knee out to the front where it was, but then to the side, and then you're going to bring it back and you're going to do some semicircular motions with that knee, really directed by where your hips are, and you're going to grind this out. Now, to add even more benefit to this, would be good if you had a band all the way up to the groin, and this could be attached to a rig. I don't expect that someone's going to be holding this for you. You want a lot of tension on it. So this in a rig, pulling the hip capsule out, is going to help massively. You can do that on the first set of 2 minutes, and then on the second set, sorry Pat, foot back on the second set, that band might be around your ankle, and it's going to really help more with the ankle mobility there. So that's hips done. Then you want to open up the thoracic spine, so you can, because we've set up for a back squat, you can use the bar in the rig, and you can hold the rig, pulling yourself down here. Sorry, Pat, that's what you're here for. So this is a really good one because the position of the bar, the height of the bar is going to be about where you're going to put it for a back squat anyway. So here, you can pull, open up your chest, and then using your hips to guide, keeping your obliques tight, thinking not so much about extending your lower back, but forcing through your upper mid back to get that T-spine nicely opened out. And then once you've done that for 2 or 3 minutes, a couple of times, stepping off, and then just do a set of 20 air squats to start, and then see how you feel. If you need to do more mobility, then think about the awareness of the squat. Is it that you're rounding or anything like that because your awareness is slightly off because you haven't done this type of thing for a while? Or is it that you're genuinely tight and you need to work more time? So if it's hamstrings, you can do some hamstring stretching, mobility, and then, only then when you're prepared, you start loading up for the back squat. Today's back squats, you're going to work up to a heavy 7. What I mean by heavy 7 is not necessarily a maximum for 7. So what we want to do is avoid going to failure and putting yourself into a compromising position. But we want to be very, very close to it. If you have a full power cage, some way like spotter arms, some way to catch the bar if you do fail, then I strongly recommend that you have those. And then it's not necessarily something that you you're going to rely on, but knowing it's there might help you do 5 or 10 more kilos. So back squats, as always, squatting between the hips. We're not doing a powerlifting low bar back squat here. We're doing an Olympic lifting squat. Very important that you do these. Incremental sets on warm-ups. So you might want to do a set of 15 with a free bar, and then a set of 10 with a couple of plates on, and then increasing on the way up until you do a couple of sets of 7, until you feel like you've done a fair amount of weight. Once you've done that, then rest 2 to 3 minutes between that set and 3 more sets at 90%. And that's back squats done. Once you've done the back squats, we're going to move on to front squats. So this is very subjective as to how you do it, depending on mobility, previous injuries, awareness, and how comfortable you feel on your shoulder. So Pat, you just step under the bar and face outwards. So always when you squat, you're going to be looking into the rig. You're not going to bring the bar out this way. This is only for demo purposes. So for the front squats, we haven't really done these very much because of the restrictions that bikers generally have. If you can do it the full front squat way, then perfect. Pat, just go under the bar. So what we're looking for here is a full rack, we call it, on the shoulder. So the bar's weight is on the shoulder here. Elbows are nice and high, cores locked down nice and tight. And then from there, you're not death gripping. It might be tight in your wrists, but this will actually help with flexibility if you can bear it. Now go back in. If you can't get into that position, it might be wrist issues. More than likely, it's flexibility and mobility issues in your shoulder, pec minor and lat that's going to restrict that elbow coming up into that good position. So you can work some of that, see if you can get in that position. We're going to do 5 sets of 5, reasonably heavy. I want you to do the same weight across all 5 sets. This is an assistance movement for the back squats, so it doesn't have to be max. It's not going to crush you, and we will be adding weight over the next 2 weeks. Now, if that's a struggle in that position there are 2 more ways that we can do this before changing the type of squat. The second way is by crossing your arms over, creating that shelf, and using your thumbs to guide the bar. But with this, because the balance point is very central, it's not as stable, but it's much better for the wrists, and it puts the weight out the front so that you can still front squat without all of the mobility needed to do it the traditional way. And the third way is, if either of those feel dodgy, you need to feel a little bit of feedback into the bar and stabilizing it. Bands are fine, you can use belts, something stable. You're going to grip these, push your elbows under, and then stand. And then this way, you get all of the benefits and positions of the front squat without the wrist flexibility needed that might make it too uncomfortable or potentially injury likely on your wrist. So how's that? Traditional front squat, crossed over with thumbs, then bands, and then, and only then, if you can't do any of those, we're going to sub this out for a Zercher squat. The worst part is getting in and out of it. So Zercher squat, weight out the front. It's the same principle as the back squat, but it's going to take all of the pressure off any kind of mobility, but it's going to put quite a lot there onto the inside of the elbow. So as I say, a towel around it or a fatter bar, you're not going to be going as heavy with that. It's a very, very good movement in its own right, but only sub that if you can't do any of the variations of front squats. And that's it for the squats for day 1. Whew. So after we've done the squats, we want a nice, sharp, intense workout to raise that capacity, work your short game. This one is going to be that. It's going to be 8 or 10 calories on the rowing machine, depending on your size and gender. So girls 8, guys 10, or smaller guys 8, smaller girls 6. You're going to do that within a minute, and then you're going to get off the rowing machine and you're going to complete 1 burpee. So this is calorie row plus death by burpees on the minute every minute. So that's minute 1 done. Pat's done 10 calories and 1 burpee. Waits for the timer to go again. On minute 2, he does 10 calories, 2 burpees. On minute 3, 10 calories, 3 burpees, and so on, until you can't fit the burpees within the minute. Likely going to be around 6 or 7 burpees. If you get up to 10, that's pretty awesome. Anything beyond that, then amazing. But just push your limit with it. These movements won't break down, so you can afford to hit with full intensity, really have a blowout, and then we'll move on to the core section of day 1. Final part of day 1, side planks. So Pat's going to demonstrate nice positions, calendar pose. All right, nice and stable, trying to align everything. Shoulder, hip, knee, ankle aligned, tight through the obliques, holding tight. You're going to do that 3 times each side for as long as possible with about 20 seconds rest in between. So you're going to go right side and then take a rest, then swap to the left, and then do that 3 times round, and that's day 1 done. On day 2, we're going to be doing a little bit of a funny kind of tempo workout to start with. So this is a workout where you're moving with purpose, but it's not reps for time. It's not absolutely blasting the intensity. The purpose is that you're going to be strengthening, but with big supersets. So you get some capacity gains, but that's not the primary objective. So what we're going to do is warm you up to that by doing some hip mobility, shoulder mobility, priming, and then we'll get straight into it. So to start with, I'd like you to 2 to 5 minutes steady state cardio, get your heart rate up. If you want to shorten that because you've got less time, then just absolutely blast 500 meters on the rower or 20 calories on the assault bike, get your heart rate up, and then start doing some standing lunges. So Pat's just going to go standing lunges, forward and back.
Good air squat.
So we're going to do 12 lunges, that's 6 and 6. Then 10 box jumps. So once you've done that, 10 box jumps, 5 press-ups, and then 5 pull-ups, strict if you can. If you can't, ring rows is absolutely fine. And do that 3 times round. That should prime you reasonably well, get your heart rate up, get everything fired. If you need to do some extra mobility, specifically, you shouldn't really need to, unless you've got super tight hamstrings, because we're going to be doing some deadlifts. Then, and only then, should you spend that time doing it. Then the workout itself is going to be ring dips. So pay attention to this. It's going to be upper body and hinge. The upper body is going to be rest, pause, sets. So that means that on the ring dips, you're going to do a big set, and then as soon as you fail, you're going to hop off, you're going to breathe for 5 breaths, then you're going to go on to the ring dips again, do another set, hop off, breathe for 5 breaths, hop on again. So it might look like, well, I know what Pats are like, so you might get 3 reps, then 2 reps, then 1. If I was going to do it, I might get 50 reps, then maybe 30, and then maybe 20. So Pat's just going to demo nice and quickly. So dip in all the way, bicep to ring. That's 19, 20, or hopped off. So his first set was 19. He's going to take 5 breaths, then he's going to get back on. The second set is going to be hard from the start. The purpose of this is overloading, minimal rest, getting back on, pre-fatigued. Going to put quite a lot of volume through that press. Once he's done that, a few breaths, and then make his way over to a deadlift bar. Now the suggestion is 10 reps, probably going to be 60 to 70% of your 3 rep max. So you should have warmed up. Don't just go in dry with that weight. Warm up to the deadlift. Make sure that you've got all of your mechanics nailed down, an appropriate weight on the bar. You can adjust the weight as you go. So first round might be a little lighter. If it felt reasonably light, then increase the weight and go for next round heavier. So this was 10 reps, not rest pause, just 10 flat, and that's that. Once he's done these, he's going to take a few breaths, recover, hop onto a pull-up bar and do rest pause pull-ups. So he's going to do his first set. He's not so bad at pull-ups. He might get 10. And then he's going to hop off, take a few breaths. On pull-ups, it's a funny thing. You might only get 4 on this next set and then 1 or 2 on his final set. That's fine, absolutely fine. Then once he's finished that, he's going to hop off, grab 2 kettlebells. He's going to do a set of 15 double Russian swings. So this is outside the leg, so super hingy movement. Chest follows the kettlebells, all initiated through the glutes and hamstrings. Tight core, a set of 15, put them down, test yourself with the weight. A few breaths, that's 1 round done. And you're going to do that 2 or 3 rounds. So depending on how many reps you get, how much you're churning through it, you can add some of the capacity gains by doing 3 rounds and having minimal rest between. But what we really want is to prioritize the strength element. So if that means that you have to rest 30 seconds to a minute between exercises, so be it. And that's it for part 1. Part 2 is going to be short and sharp. Dumbbells preferable, but you can use kettlebells. It's 21, 15, 9 squat clean thrusters. So from the hang, a clean into a squat into a press. So clean, squat, press. That's 1 rep. To the hang, back over, squat, press. 21 of these. If you really struggle with the coordination of the clean, squat and press, you see Pat's already a little bit sharper having done a couple of reps. Make sure that you're familiar with the movement before you go. It doesn't have to start from the ground each time, but the importance is that you have a hinge, then you're into a squat, then you're into a press. Massive, massive movements. This is going to be really testing on your whole body, particularly core and lungs. There you go. 21 of those. Then 21 toes to bar. That's going to be a big test. Not many people are going to be able to get 21, particularly not in one set. You might do 3 sets of 7, or if you can't do many toes to bar, straight leg raises or knee raises. Just make sure that the movement's the same for each one. So if it's a knee raise, so be it. It's important that you're hanging from a bar or as a minimum some rings that might be a little bit easier on your grip, but the grip benefits of hanging are very important in this workout. So 21 thrusters, 21 toes to bar, 15 thrusters, 15, 9 and 9, and then you're probably going to die. But that's it for the actual workout part. And if you've got anything left at all, we're going to do a little bit of core to finish. So the core today is going to complement the toes to bar. If you've struggled with that, then find a bar, set a timer for 10 minutes. You're going to accumulate as long as you can in an L hang position. So hopping up to the bar, bringing toes straight, point the toes, see this 90-degree angle, absolutely perfect. This is great for core, hip flexors, stability through the shoulder, quite a lot of benefits to that, but it is obviously very hard. So the timer's on for 10 minutes. Pat's done 3 seconds. He's off. So that's 3 seconds. He's been going for about 30 seconds. He's done 2 sets of 3 seconds, so that's 6 total. Bam, 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 bam. Ideally, within 10 minutes, you should be working towards spending half of that time in an L position. I mean, that's like super top end, but you can benchmark yourself by timing it and having a total number of time in an L position within 10 minutes, or a scaled version of. So back up onto the bar. That scale version is knee raises. So ideally, your heels are going to be in front of your knees. So this is scaling option number 1. Knee above hip, heel in front of knee. This is still a very hard position. If you can't maintain that, just bring your heels back, knee above hip. If you can't maintain that, then straighten your legs out and have a hollow position, toes pointed and engaged through the core here. So that's your final scaling option. And that's it for day 2. On to day 3. Day 3 is going to be reasonably upper body focused. So we're going to do a warm up specifically for that. 2 to 5 minutes steady state cardio, probably on a ski erg or an assault bike if you have it. Get that upper body fired, and then you're going to do 3 rounds of 5 burpees. Chest and thighs to the ground. Important that on the burpee this time, you don't do what Pat's doing. CrossFit wanker, going for as many reps as possible. Is a nice, full, circular motion with the arms to meet at the top. Bam. Yeah, don't be an ass. 90s star jump style. This way we're going to get nice motion through the shoulder, get that warmed up. And then you're going to do 15 squats. Although it's upper body, it's important that your hips get fired up, everything's engaging top to bottom. 3 rounds of that, and then on to a band. Pat's going to hook his hand in, take a step backwards and allow the band to pull his arm out. And this position here might be enough for you through the shoulder, opening up the lats. If you want a little bit more, the same leg, so he's holding with his right hand. The right foot comes back and then out to the left hand side. And this will really open up down the back into his lower back, all down the lats. And then finally twisting the palm upwards, external rotation through, and that's really going to push it through there. So 2 minutes each side on there. If you're lacking time and you want to speed that up to 1 minute a side, you can do some contract relax. So in that position, contract for 6 seconds, relax for 20 seconds, go again 3 times, it's around about a minute, more bang for buck mobility. And then you want to do some, I'll just demo this, Pat, because we didn't go through. Then you want to do some opposite side. So this one, like you're getting thrown out of a nightclub.
The dislocator.
The dislocator.
The disco locator.
So nice tension through the front of the shoulder there. Just sit back into it, and you can put your opposite ear to your opposite shoulder and get some real nice movement through. And then a straight arm, just stepping into it for pec minor here. And then that should well open you up for the first and second part of today's actual work. So the first part is going to be with the kettlebell, start light. You need to do 5 sets, working sets of this. You're going to stand with the kettlebell up on its end. You're going to press 5 times. Once you've done that 5 without smashing yourself in the face. So clearly this is going to take a bit of stability through the arm, the shoulder. Great for the grip. And then if you can, trying to hold out 90 degrees, elbow up. Walk then 10 meters or whatever distance you have available to you. Turn, press 5 more times.
This is bad.
This is very bad. Maybe you need some chalk. Press 5 more times, walk your way back. So the purpose of this is obviously the control and strength through the grip and shoulder, but not surprisingly, control through the core and a big awareness movement. And this is going to be a really good setup for the next part. So it's 5 working sets of 5 walk, 5 walk, swap. That made perfect sense, I'm sure. And then we're going to go into a floor press, which anyone that was on the program last week, on the reload week, might have tried this. So Pat's going to lie on the ground. The purpose of the floor press is that the elbows restrict the total movement, but we're pressing from a full stop, simply a bench press from the floor. So this distance here, this is going to create more strength from a full stop position, driving up super hard, and then a pause at the bottom. Obviously, what you don't want to do is drop that bar quickly and end up hitting the ground with your elbows super hard. What we're going to do here is 3 sets of 12 to 15. Find an appropriate weight. You can, so just a quick note on technique, you can have your legs straight out, but that might, if you tighten your hip flexors, put some overextension into your lower back. So then, yeah, unload that lower back by bringing your knees up, but try not to push too much into the floor with your heels. Bring in any kind of change of position through your midline. And then that's that. Roll it off. That's it for the strength element of day 3. Right, this workout. If you're only going to work out twice this week, this is a really good workout for capacity, so you can add this into day 2 if you particularly wanted to do it. It is every 3 minutes, so it's an incentive to get it done quickly because the time is rolling. You start the next round every 3 minutes, and you're going to do it 5 times round. It's going to be 10 calories on the rowing machine or an assault bike. Either one of those is preferred. If you need to reduce the calories as you go along because you're absolutely wasted because it is high capacity, so be it. If you want to reduce the calories from the start because you just know that you're not going to get it done in the time, so be it. 10 calories done, then 20 ground to overhead with the plate. So 10 kilos for guys, 5 kilos for girls, touching. This is very good. It looks pretty gimmicky, like we've made it up for people that can only find a plate and they don't have access to other pieces of equipment. However, it is a very, very good position to be in for hinging and opening through the groin. So it teaches quite good positions, unlike the kettlebell swing, where it's very weighty and it's pulling you forwards. This is very much about function of the hip, but also creates more demand on capacity. Once you've done 20 of those, you're then going to hold the plate in front of you and do 20 lunges. That's 10 each side. Then once you've done that, you're going to drop the plate on the ground, use it as a target to jump onto for each burpee. So no need to touch the hands on top of the head. You jump onto the plate. This will ensure that when you're on top, your hips and everything is aligned, so you fully open and then back down. Just mix it up a little bit by going onto the plate, and because of the 2 movements before it were a plate, it makes sense to utilize it for the rest. That might take you 2 minutes 20, the first round. Rest the remaining time, do the next round on minute 3. If you don't have 30 seconds rest before the next round, I would suggest that when you do the next round, you reduce the reps on something or all things. So you can knock them off the burpees, only do 8. You can knock off the calories, or you can go down to 15s on the actual movements themselves. And that's it for the workout. Good luck for that one. We can do some core work at the end if you've got anything left. The core work today, super testing. Durante's core. But we're not going to be doing all 10 in one go. Instead, we're going to do 1 and then rest, and then 2 and then rest, and then 3, all the way up as far as you can go, and then 2 more sets of the one previous to the one that you failed. So it is 1 hollow rock. That's arms overhead, 1 rock, and then 1. So heels then come back down, stretch out, 1 V up, touching toes in the middle, then 1 tuck, so elbows and knees together, and then 1 second hollow hold. Then rest, check in with yourself, then do 2. So 2 hollow rocks, 1, 2, 2 V-ups, touching in the middle, perfect form pat, 2 tucks, elbows and knees, tuck, tuck, 2 second hollow hold, 1, 2, no. See how far you can get before you fail, and then work back down and do, maybe if you failed at 4, do 2 more sets of 3 of each. And that's it for day 3. 2 seconds.
What's the next day?
Day 4. Day 4, if you have anything left, any kind of capacity to do any kind of workout, day 4 is 3 sets of 2,000 meter row with 2.5 minutes off per 2 for each rest. So it's 3 lots of 2,000 meters. The suggestion is that you go probably 5 to 10 seconds slower per 500 on your first effort from when you did the tests. That way you can have a check-in with your capacity and your ability, and then see how you feel after 2.5 minutes on your second set. It's no good going out the gate and trying to get a PB 2,000 meter row time on your first one and then ruining your other efforts. It's important that you save that all-out effort for the last one. And I promise you that even if you go steady on the first one, the last one's going to be very, very hard. So just check in with yourself, check in with your ego, go slower on the first one, a bit quicker on the second, and then on the third, go all out if you want to. but see how you do by then. If you want to turn this into a steady state cardio day because you're beaten up, then by all means do the traditional 40 to 60 minutes steady state cardio, round about 60 to 70% if you've got a heart rate monitor on. It might be about 130 for guys, you know, similar age to us. What are you, Pat?
I'm a lot younger than you.
A lot longer too.
A lot longer.
So anyway, regardless of that, a conversational pace, and then hopping off every so often to do some mobility work. So the suggestion today is you do the 2,000 meters plus 20 minutes exclusive mobility on ankles and hips because of the amount of squatting and pulling at weight we're going to do over the next few weeks. So day 4, for those people that can do it, get on it, work some capacity or just recover, and I'll see you next week. Peace.